Well, how are you? That good? My goodness. My weekend started. By the way, hello and welcome to the program. My weekend started with a little video from Towson, Maryland. No, it's beautiful. It was really exceptional. It was the beginning of what I believe is shove. From nudge to shove, then shoot. Now, this is clearly in the shove category. I believe the IRS is in the shove category, but the thing with the IRS is that came out, and they didn't mean for that to come out. That's the preparing to shove and shoot. This is the actual shove. And I believe it is a warning sign to the American people. I believe my job is to tell you the signposts. My job is to tell you how far down this road are you and how much farther do you have to go. Not much. I'll explain tonight at 5 o'clock in great detail and through the broadcast today. But there was a Common Core meeting in a suburb of Baltimore, and they weren't taking any questions. What they were doing is, if you have a question on Common Core, all you have to do is just write it in, and then we'll look through it, and then we'll edit those questions. We'll select from the edited questions, and then we'll answer. So you might say, Common Core sucks. I mean, 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 5, no matter how you got there. 2 plus 2 is 4 always. And then they'll look at that, and just for time's sake, they will just say, we edited it down to Common Core always.
I believe Common Core sucks was edited to Common Core rocks.
Yeah.
It was just a minor couple letters.
So one of the parents stood up because they were saying, you're not telling us even, you're not even reading the questions, and I can't even get a follow-up in here. This is ridiculous. I have some things that I want to say because I moved specifically to this district because the schools are good, and you're going to wreck them. Listen to him.
My question is, how are we talking about college? You're not talking about which colleges. You're not preparing them for...
So he's hard to understand here because of the echo and things, and the person recording it's kind of far away. But he's saying, my question is, and he's kind of stammering to find his way, and he's reading off a notepad that he has, but he's trying to share these concerns with Common Core.
Okay, my question is...
And then, and as he starts asking the question, you see the commotion begin around him, and a police officer enters the scene.
Educational standards to prepare kids for community college, because that's what it's all about. Because you mentioned before, the emphasis is, we're not having some stuff here to quote before this side tries to carry me out.
Okay.
But, hey, listen, parents, take control. This is not a scam.
Now he's being accosted by the cop.
Right, and I want you to know, this is a very large, intimidating black man in a polo shirt that just says security. He doesn't look like a cop. He is wearing a polo shirt, and he is very intimidating. He is big and buff, and he is right in this man's face. And he starts to say, let's go, come on. Now, all this parent is doing is standing up and saying, wait a minute, I have a logical question here, and this whole system doesn't work.
Let's go.
Let him ask his question.
This is what I will say in fairness to everyone who asks questions. We do.
Stop. Now, you hear the woman who is taping. She's going to be on with me at 5 o'clock today, along with another woman that was there, another eyewitness to this that was there. We reached out to the guy who was actually talking. He's no longer allowed to talk because of his attorney, because he's facing a problem, and I'll explain what that problem is here in just a second. But as he continues to talk, it gets worse.
That are dovetailing to that.
Let him ask his question.
So the next question. So this is a dovetail.
Don't stand for this. You're sitting here like cattle. You have questions. You confront them.
Stop.
He's imploring the audience now.
Yeah, because
stand up.
Because this cop is now taking him away, or starting to say, "Come on, let's go." And he looks at the audience there of about 300 parents and says, "You have questions. You all have questions. You're sitting there like cattle. Stand up." And none of them do.
Okay, the next.
Okay, now this ruckus where you're starting to hear the crowd go a little crazy is when the cop takes his arm and twists it behind his back to drag him out. And the audience is verbally and visually shocked by this. And
the guy wasn't doing anything.
He's not doing anything. He's not resisting arrest. He didn't strike him. He did nothing. Yeah. And the cop grabs his arm, twists it behind his back, and starts to yank him out of the road. Okay, stop. Now he's saying, is this even America? This isn't even a CNN political debate. He said, this isn't a political debate. This is about our children.
Hey, that's right. Parents, you need to question these people.
Okay, stop.
Parents, you need to question these people. And then he's jammed out the door.
He's jammed out the door. And
pretty viciously.
Here's the thing. These people do not want any questions. They don't want any questions for you. You will accept it. Mm-hmm. Is there anything more important than your children's education? And you just will accept it. And what's sickening about this is the people on the stand, the people who are in charge, are all smiling. You notice that? They're all smiling. None of them have a problem with this at all. And they twist his arm, they take him out, they handcuff him, and they arrest him. The reason why he can't be on the program today is because he is facing 10 years in prison. They're claiming second-degree assault of a police officer.
For what?
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched the entire video. At what point he never even resists, let alone assaults?
This was the number one video on The Blaze all weekend long. And if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. Because I'm going to make the case tonight that this is your warning sign. This is the push cart. Remember I said when the guy set himself on fire in Tunisia, and that was an international story. That was not a big deal. That wasn't going to lead to anything, right? Everything was just, please relax. And I said at the time, that push cart is going to set the entire Middle East on fire and eventually the world. That push cart was the last stop before significant unrest and possibly World War III. And as it's turning out, that's exactly right. I am telling you with everything in me, warning, the people sitting down and being cattle and what they did to this man and are doing to this man is a significant road sign on the road on which we are traveling. This is not America. I've never seen anything like this before. The guy was not, you know how you see these videos sometimes and you're like, okay, well, you shouldn't have done that. There's nothing this guy did wrong. Nothing. Except ask a question. So here's why I think you need to watch this video, and it's available up on the Blaze front page. Watch this video. No one else is going to make a very big deal out of this. They will say that it's important, maybe. They'll play it, but I'm telling you, it is a road sign. And if you've listened to me for a long period of time, you know I have a pretty good grasp on road signs and what's coming. And I'm telling you, when I saw this, I couldn't sleep. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I saw it like at midnight. I couldn't sleep because it is significant warning. Now, if you're somebody who said, and if you watch this, Stu is always against anytime that anybody, you ever see a dash cam video, he's like, I'll say, look at this. They threw the guy up on the hood of the car in there. Look at the way they're treating him. He's like, no, there's always a problem. Whenever, you ever see a cop and he's like, get out of the car. Stu is always saying, there's more to this story. Look at what he did.
Yeah,
you just watch this one.
Yeah, I mean, I am the guy that like the TSA stuff. Most of the time, I don't think there's that much to those videos. I mean, look, the guy he's not chanting. He's not throwing anything. He stands up perhaps at the wrong time in the meeting and says what a straight out question. He's trying to comment on the topic that they're talking about. He's not doing a protest for the sake of protests. He's doing something to answer the question.
He's not trying to disrupt anything.
And, the guy gets really up in his face and,
really intimidating.
The cop is really intimidating. From the very beginning, He intimidates. He gets,
and there's no reason for it because the guy's not aggressive towards him.
None
at all.
None.
Yeah, I mean, you see,
he's in his face.
Yeah.
You know, there's a space that we all know, and he is in his personal space. Beyond.
He's what Seinfeld would call a close talker.
Yeah.
He's a close talker.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, when we talk about, like, these other protesters, they'll come in and the president will be speaking, and they'll, like, throw something at the president or the United States. And, you know, at least back when the last president was in office, they tended to do that a lot. They seem to have forgot that tactic. But even then, the people, the security of the place would remove them, but would remove them politely. They wouldn't jam their arms anywhere. They wouldn't get up in their face like they were going to punch them in the face. None of that ever happened in those videos. They were escorted out, and then usually they seemed to be released because then they were back in there the next day.
I think the president is a different example because I do know that, you know, I've seen it happen with this president and the last president. The Secret Service doesn't mess around. But you're talking about the president's safety. But they're
usually kind to the protesters.
When you're talking about anything that has happened at any university where they're throwing chairs, That's what gets them a taser or gets them to be pounced on, is they're throwing things at them. When they are just saying Palestinians, you know, forever, Palestinian state, they're just removed. This guy was removed and charged with blocking like school district business, which puts him in jail for 6 months, and second-degree assault of a police officer, which gets him...
That is unbelievable.
10 years in prison.
He didn't touch the guy?
Didn't touch him.
He didn't yell at the guy? He didn't do anything.
And what they'll say is, well, it happened after the video was shut off. That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, look at the video. You tell me if this guy looks violent. And all he's doing is standing up. Now, Stu said during the break, well, is there a time when, you know, can you just disrupt any meeting? This is a shareholders meeting, and there is nothing more important. You're not just paying taxpayer. You can't opt out of this. You are buying shares in a company that is being run into the ground, and this company happens to provide your children's future and their education. And the company is being run into the ground. You cannot sell your shares. You can't opt out. You have to continue to pay for them. And you have to continue to keep your kids there. And there's no refunds. There's nothing. If you were just buying shares in a company that you really cared about, when they have their shareholder meeting, they have mics down in the aisle. And you may not like the answers that you get, but they are required to sit there and listen to the shareholders speak. Well, the shareholders in this particular case, because it's the government, they're not going to get a mic. They don't get their chance to voice it. Why? Because it's the government, and the government can tell you what the rules are, and if you don't like them, tough. What are you going to do? You pay us your money. You're forced to do it. And so that's what happened here. And it is, I think, truly, truly disturbing.